Start record.
Start record.
Look at my Kira cup. Look at.
Start recording.
Look at
Is
it.
recording. Oh, that's cute. I just have a Michigan. Oops, I just have a Michigan mug.
This isn't actually Kira, but it looks just like her, doesn't it?
They all do. They all do. That's the thing. I noticed that. I don't know if that's like I've only seen a handful of like husky types, but they all pretty much just either look like a Kira or a Shiloh.
Right.
Welcome to this week's episode of the CCMouse Podcast. We're good for your ears. I'm Dan, and you can find me everywhere at RFS Dan.
And I'm Jess, and you can find me everywhere at Gone to the Snow Dogs and Snow Dogs Vlogs. All the Snow Dogs places.
Yes, all the Snow Dogs places. Jess, Happy New Year. It is 2022 already. All the haters are like, 2021 was the longest year. I thought 2021 went by pretty dang quick.
It did. I think it went by pretty quick. I don't think it was that bad. I know some people had a really bad year, but I don't think it was that bad. Like, stuff happened, but stuff happens every year.
Right. I love 2021. I thought it was a great year. It was a good content creating year. Like, I had a really good year of content creating. It was fun. It flowed really well. I got to go out to see you. That was fun.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
That was the longest.
It was only once this year, though.
Only once, and it was 14 months, September, October, November, 14 and a half months later. That's probably the longest gap in the last few years that I've been out to your house.
I was out there for Vid Summit.
Right. And even that was a year.
Had been...
That was still a year in between. And that went by fast. That went by fast.
Yeah, it did. So, it did.
2021. I know 2021 was a fast year. Speaking of that, we'll fast forward all the way to the end of 2021 because that's all anybody cares about is the last 3 months of the year. Let's start with pumpkin carving. You did all those pumpkins in October.
We did. I don't even remember. I think we had exactly 100. I think technically we had 101, but on the day we set them all up, we had one that literally just turned to mush.
One quit. I'm out of here.
I don't want a pumpkin anymore.
Oh. Yeah, and you guys always try to hit that 100 mark.
Yeah, for the longest time, it was every year we tried to do one more than the year before. And then when we moved to this house, well, at the old house, we one year went from like doing 30 to somehow we did 70. And then it was like, well, now we have to try to do one more every year. And then when we moved here, the first time we did 100, looking at the yard, we're like, that's the limit. Like, we cannot continuously try to do more than that every year because there's just no place to put them.
It's almost
unless
unhealthy.
We start, right? Unless we like go to the neighbors and be like, hey, can we like use your yard? Because we need more space, which they would probably let us, but then there'd be people walking all over their yard and stuff too. But no, 100 is about the limit. That's usually what we shoot for. It's a pretty good number. Realistically, if we start 5 days ahead of time and we do 20 pumpkins a night, that's not math, right? Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah,
it doesn't work out. It never happens. Like the first night we do like 11.
Yeah.
And then we're panicking. The second night we'll do like 12. And then it's just crazy. Like we'll end up with 38 done in one night. So the first few days is that panic, and then somehow we always manage to pull it off. And it's not a competition, but if it was a competition, Eric actually did one more pumpkin than me, but it's not a competition. We do keep a list of everybody's name, the amount of pumpkins they've done, but it's not a competition. But if it was, Eric won.
I think when I was out there to do the pumpkins one year, I think I didn't even get that many done. I got like 10. Maybe. Right. I think so. And then my hand was going to fall off. I was concerned that you guys weren't going to reach your limit because you guys were so short-handed this year.
We were short-handed. I think I did 18 on my own. Eric did 19. I think Jamie did 17 or 18 on his own. Like the core group of people that's been here with us like throughout the whole time we've been doing this, we all pulled off the most pumpkins. And Jamie and Greg do a lot of the gutting and stuff, so they don't necessarily get as much time to carve as many pumpkins. So there's that. But they did quite a few this year. But yeah, we did. We had less help this year than normal, and we still pulled it off. We still did it.
Do you think if it was just you and Jamie this year and nobody came by to help, could you pull off 100 pumpkins? Would the pressure make you pull off 100 pumpkins?
I think if it was just Jamie and I, yes, we could, because many, many years ago when we used to do this and we had less help, I actually used to take and pre-print out all of the patterns, and I would go and I would trace the patterns onto the pumpkin, and then I would take a magic marker and I would draw the patterns so they were like permanently on the pumpkin. You couldn't rub them off. So instead of using like the tracing paper that we use now, I would go through and like a week before everybody would come over, I would sit on the couch and I would just trace patterns. And then when people came over, it was like, here's a pumpkin with a pattern. Here's a pumpkin with a pattern. So by getting pumpkins early and prepping for all of that, I think we could do it. I think our hands would be killing us. But I do think we could find a way to pull it off.
Right.
It would be 5 straight days or 6 straight days of nothing but pumpkin carving. But I think we could if we had to.
It would just be like almost a production line. You'd be on that drum.
Yeah.
Doom, doom,
Yeah.
doom. And it's like, let's talk more carve. Let's talk more carve.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
So
not a sweatshop, but it kind of is.
and it was a success. You guys can go see the video over at Snow Dogs Vlogs. It's back a little bit. You know, you have to dig back into the archives to see it, but it is there. So after Halloween led us into what was next? I guess it was the Novi Pet Expo.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That was the next like big thing that we did. Jamie and I went on a mini vacation, but yeah, that was pretty much it.
Mini vacation means you just went up north, right?
Yeah. We did that a couple times though.
You never get tired of going up there, huh?
No.
You didn't go up there in the snow, right? Because usually you have the videos
Not
that
yet.
you've seen the ice caves and stuff. And
Yeah, not yet. They have a lot of snow up there. Actually, this weekend, well, I don't know when this goes up, but January 8th, the Tequamanon sled dog race is happening, and there's like a part of me that wants to go up for that, but we're supposed to get a really big snowstorm that day, and I can't really take the dogs. Like, I can't take the dogs to the sled dog event because they'll bother the other dogs, so... there was a part of me that's like, we should go up for that. Oh, we can't bring the dogs. Well, we could take the dogs, and no, we can't do that.
I mean, wait, what does that mean? They bother the dogs? Do they sit on the sidelines and they heckle the dogs like, you're slow?
They can be a distraction. Like, my dogs are going to want to run. So when those dogs take off at the line and start barking and going crazy, my dogs are going to go crazy, which that can distract a team. So they ask that you don't bring dogs that aren't racing to the races.
I mean, I guess that. Have you ever seen the Tour de France, how they have the bike races and everybody's standing on the sidelines in costumes and heckling and running around? You know, they still bike up the mountain that you could drive a car up of. You know, even with all that heckling going on, the dogs ought to do the same thing.
And that's pretty much what it would be like, but you really don't want to have a team of 10 dogs go off course and run into the crowd.
Right. Yeah, that would not be. I wouldn't want to be trampled over by sled dogs. I mean, Santa can trample me over if he wants with his his reindeer, but I'd rather not be trampled over by Balto. Is that right? Did I get the name right?
You got one of the names right.
Okay, I saw Balto and Vixen and Prancer and
Togo.
Oh, yes, like the sandwich shop. Okay, yes, I got it.
Exactly.
I got it now. Oh, that'll be cool if you go up there. Now I'm excited. I didn't know you were going to do that. So maybe you should.
Yeah,
we
haven't decided. Like I said, it would be one of those things where if we do take the dogs, we would have to each take turns kind of getting out of the car. And we haven't been to a race in so long. I kind of want to go. And I thought about just calling Greg and being like, hey, will you watch my dogs for a day? And we would just go. It's like 3.5 hours north of here. The problem is if we get stuck in a snowstorm, as I'm sure we'll get into that, you experienced what that's like, driving in a snowstorm turns a 3.5 hour drive into a, 6.5 hour drive?
Yeah, at least. Okay, yeah, so you do have to be prepared to stay
I don't know if we're going to go to that, but I think that we probably will go up north sometime soon because I'm itching. They have more snow than we do, so I want to go.
Oh, man, I hope maybe the weather changes and you guys can go to that. That would be really cool. I'd like to see new footage of that.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. So you guys are probably wondering why there's a red Brett in my hair. It's to keep my, it's pretty. It's to keep my hair out of my face. If you guys want to see this, if you're listening to the audio version, you can go to youtube.com/CCMouse Podcast and see the video version of this. We have the latest virus version sweep of the house. What is it? Omicron? Sounds like a bad transformer. Why can't they name it anything cool? Why can't it be like the Pizza Friends virus or variant or something like that? Like,
what is it? The Omicron Delta Plus Max,
yes.
Unlimited.
Oh my gosh! If you guys haven't watched South Park, they to me are what like Eminem was in the '90s of social commentary of like what's going on. That show had me cracking up. I'm like, why are they adults? This is kind of weird, but oh my gosh, like
I loved it.
I loved it too. So that's swept our house here. We're all in variant stages of it in here, but
not my house, your house.
Yes, and don't worry, you guys won't catch it listening to the podcast. You'll be You'll be good to go. You'll be good to go. So I was drinking my tea, and when you drink tea, do you slurp? Is it everything like a little slurp of tea? Like how come you like slurp tea instead of drinking it like normal? I don't know. I was just thinking about that before we started.
I think you sip hot drinks. You're not supposed to you're not supposed to like inhale. I mean, you shouldn't really inhale anything when you're drinking, but I think with hot drinks, most people tend to sip hot drinks over like taking regular drinks.
But my body should know. Look, I'm 43. Like I've drinking hot things like most of my life. Like I should know by now that it's not that hot, and I should be able to gulp it like a normal person. So I don't know. You guys at home, let me know if you guys are tea slurpers.
I think the problem is once you've been burned, your brain goes, maybe I don't. I mean, it could be hot still. You just,
you know what? You're right. And then I forget about that too. And every now and then I'm like, but I need that first little sip, and then the roof of my mouth, and then I have cat tongue, where my tongue feels like a cat because it's all burnt and stuff. Maybe I learned it from too many Hallmark Channel movies. Maybe
could be.
Oh, I was so irritated on Christmas. I think I sent you guys the video in the group chat. There was a Hallmark movie on, and Rachel Lee Cook was this social media person that had 3 million followers on her social media. And then there was this montage where she was taking selfies with this new guy, the hunk that moved back to town to, I don't know why. And they weren't even in frame. I was so frustrated about the photos that she took that weren't even in frame. I'm like, this is what's wrong with the world. False social media, like, numbers and people that can't take framed photos. I don't know. That just irritated me.
This is what's wrong with the world. Hallmark movies.
Movies. Just the accuracy in Hallmark movies. I can buy the fact that two incredibly attractive people have nothing going for them in their lives, and they move back to this town where they smile. I think every 11 seconds. I think one of the actresses talked about making the movies that you have to smile in those movies. Like every 11 seconds, everything's got to be the greatest thing in the world. Like they're all on some sort of lithium. They put lithium in the water in these small towns. But yeah, lots of cheesy smilings. Yeah, on Christmas it flows like a Christmas story on the television at Crystal's mom's house.
Oh my gosh.
I know. All right, back on track. So we go to the Novi Pet Expo, Jess, and this is the first part of December. Yes, you guys can also watch those videos on Snow Dogs Vlogs and RFS Dan. I did make a video that actually came out of the members' first vault and went live today, so you guys can check out my trip to Novi Pet Expo, which was a lot of fun. Oh my gosh, we had been waiting for this for almost 2 years, because 2 years ago in 2019 I didn't make it out there. Instead I went and carved pumpkins with you, so I didn't come back out there the month before, and then all the popular sickness went down and they didn't even have an expo in 2020. You went to no expos, right? You and the dogs showed up nowhere, right?
Yeah, they the last one we went to was 2019, and then it was 2019, and then everything kind of started to shut down. We were supposed to go to the West Michigan Pet Expo, and we were supposed to go to Chicago PetCon in 2020, and they canceled both of those. So yeah, we hadn't been to. This was the first return to expos since 2019, since the one we went to in 2019.
Yeah.
So technically, it was like Kira's second or third expo, because she went to the Novi Pet Expo, and then she went to New York, and I think that was it. Those were the only two she'd ever been to.
But
and then everything got canceled in between. Yeah, and she was just a baby. Yeah, I was a little worried because Kira has some quirkiness about her, which we saw at the Pet Expo. Exactly what I thought could possibly happened while we were there.
Yes,
and
yes.
she has these little quirky moments where everything is fine, and then something does something, and she's just like, I'm not fine. I'm scared for nothing. And if you guys watch the video, and I think there might have been more of it in your video even than mine, there's a point where there's what did you call it? A leprechaun on stilts?
Yes, which is an oxymoron. Like, I don't get
it.
You're not supposed to.
So there was this woman dressed up. She was on stilts, and the first day she came up and saw us, Kira was all about it. She was checking her out. Jamie picked her up so she could see her, and Kira was perfectly fine. The second day, that lady started to walk by, and Kira went from happy-go-lucky, everything's fine, to her eyes met this crazy-looking thing over here that she had seen the day before, and that was it. She was done. She hid under the table. She wanted nothing to do with it. I had to walk off with her because I was like, you need to just realize you're not going to die. I don't know what goes through her mind sometimes. Sometimes I think she's like, oh my God, it's the end of the world and I'm going to die. So I had to walk off with her for a little bit. I had to text Jamie and be like, your dog is freaking out. You have to come save her. And he came down and she sat in his lap for a while. Like,
yeah, she wasn't having
it. She just didn't like that lady on stilts. And then the next day, somebody walked by with crutches, and the crutch made the exact same sound as the stilts. And Kira was like, where is she? Where is she?
Triggered. I have some theories. Maybe theory number 1 is leprechauns don't belong on stilts. That just violates every sort of leprechaun thing. Even all those crazy leprechaun movies they have out there. There's no leprechaun on stilts. And that lady,
true.
That lady, and she was a trooper. She was on those stilts for all 3 days. She was like a little over 7 feet tall at this point, and she was a short lady. I did ask her, I was like, how you feeling up there? She's like, I'm so bruised up. Because when you watch her walk, she has to like just move it's like her body's like split down the middle, and she's got to move every bit of her to try to walk, which seems so dangerous because every dog comes with a trip rope. You know, every dog's got a leash coming off of it. I was waiting for her to go down. Like, I secretly low-key wanted her to go down, but like, I didn't want her to get hurt or anything. Maybe she would have fallen into that big old blow-up dog that they had there, you know, but like...
You're like, if you're gonna fall, please fall right here where we have all the cameras.
Yes, yeah. So I was waiting for her to go down, but she didn't. I just didn't see any loading and unloading points. But I think there was a llama over there, so maybe like that's how she got on and off the stilts. I'm not sure. How do you boost yourself up onto those things? They looked fun. I wanted to try them a little bit, but I got shut down when I tried to ask if I could. They had the lawn. I know we're getting way ahead of ourselves. They had this lawn runner where the show dogs were jumping into the water pit, but it was balls.
Yeah.
And I was like, can I just like fish off of it once? But I could not make that happen for stupid legal reasons. You know, if I get hurt in a ball pit, then like I deserve what I get.
You can sue, but the dogs, on the other hand, are like, wee!
I thought so. Those dogs were flying. Oh my gosh,
those
dogs were flying. So there was a few things I had goals.
I was sad that they didn't have that you didn't get to see the actual dock diving dogs. You would have loved that.
And that's into the water.
And I think they usually have a pool set up in the back corner. And like if you go back years past at the Novi Pet Expo videos I have, you can see it. And they do the actual dock diving, and then you can let your dogs try it. Like they have times where you sign up and you can let your dogs try to do the dock diving. And there was a part of me that wanted to see if we could get Kira to do it. And I'm like, oh, but then she'd be wet. But for the video, I'm like, this would be so fun. But they weren't there this year.
Worth it. Well, maybe next year if I go, then maybe the pool will be back, and maybe I can, slip a crisp $1 bill into somebody's hand and let me jump off the end of that thing. There was a few things that I had for goals showing up there. I was like, well, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna jump off the dock. I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna eat all the free samples. I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna get microchipped. And let me tell you, only one of the 3 things happened. Only one of the three things.
Which
happened. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so I gotta travel to your house. It's a far ways to go. Oh my gosh! So I bought my ticket like halfway through the year. I'm like, I'm going. There's nothing that's gonna stop me from going. Even though the whole way I was like, dude, I'm destined not to go there. So I get to the airport. I get on the airplane. And before I get on the airplane, there's a part of the video. I got to explain myself real quick, Jess. There's a part of the video where I'm eating a sandwich, and people were concerned that I didn't have any napkins. And and let me tell you the napkin story real quick. So I get to the airport, and the airport's fully in like a $1.8 billion renovation or something like that, right? So it's like crazy there, and it's super crowded. It's like Home Alone crowded. Like everybody's back again at the airport, and I'm like, well, I need to get food. I have like an hour before my time. So I went through TSA, which was so crazy. Like, it's just like, they just yell at you, hey, take off your shoes, and why would you come through here with the belt? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm just a man-child.
This is what it feels like to be in boot camp at the military.
Which is much different than even in Detroit's airport, or like even in Traverse City, like a lot different attitude in LA than it is back east when it comes to TSA. So I get through TSA and I'm like, man, all that stress made me hungry. So I go over to Jersey Mike's. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to eat some Jersey Mike's. So I go and I get the sandwich, and they're cool. They only have like 3 options. You either get this, or this. So they make me this huge sandwich. They put it in the bag. And while I'm standing there at the counter, I notice this suitcase is sitting there all by itself. And I'm like, interesting. It was pretty too. It was like pastel blue. And then like first of all, the girl that made my sandwich had like 8-inch nails. So that's good and bad, like at least I know like I'll see the nail. I'll be like, oh, that's 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 like a chip. I want to make sure that it's not like a Frito. But so she had these long nails. She made my sandwich, and then the cops that walk around there, she's like, "Hey, come here," and she just pointed like that. I'm making like a hitchhiker arm. Hey, like that. And so they go and they stand by this briefcase, right? And they're just standing there. And they're not concerned. They're not calling nothing. They're just standing there waiting. And behind them is the napkin dispenser. So it's like, I blew it by grabbing my sandwich, and I found an empty seat, and I ran to it, and I sat down, and I'm staring, and I'm eating it, and the food's messy because she made my sandwich extra big. I don't know why. Maybe she liked my covered face. So I'm sitting there eating my sandwich, and it's a mess, and I'm trying to record like just B-roll footage of the trip and stuff like that. And meanwhile, for like the 20 minutes that I sat there, I'm just waiting for somebody to come and claim their luggage, because clearly somebody just forgot it. Like, they were so excited about their Mike subs or their Jersey subs or whatever it was that they probably just forgot it.
You're not supposed to do that. Like, they say it over the loudspeaker all the time. Don't leave your luggage unattended. Don't leave your luggage unattended. Somebody did, and it was a nice brand new looking suitcase. But they stood there right in front of it with no concern, no protocol or nothing. They were there the whole time I was there. And then fortunately, some lady was sitting next to me, and she's like, "Could you watch my stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, but like, could you get me a napkin while you go to grab I think she just went to go grab something else from her order." So then I got hooked up by that. It was bartering. It was old school Oregon Trail bartering to get napkins. So I did get napkins, but I had to explain myself because in the B-roll footage, I'm just eating the sub as it's just like sloppily all over my face. Like, "Dad, you're a savage." I'm like, "It's cool. I have a mask. I'll just wipe it off on the inside of the mask." And oh my gosh. Let me give you guys a pro travel tip. Pro travel tip number 1. There's a bunch of them coming. Pro travel tip number 1. Do not get onions on your sandwich if you're gonna travel with the mask on an airplane the whole time, because you are your own worst enemy then. And I didn't even think about it. I'm like, this tastes so good. Like, because I was stressed out. I was okay, but like, it's a 2-hour drive down there. I had to like walk. I had to like walk with my luggage behind me all the way down to the next terminal. And then like, I don't know what's going on with people. Here's pro tip number 2. Y'all know you can check in like 24 hours early on your phone. And if you're a Delta flyer, you always get the middle seats when you get the cheap tickets. Soon as check-in time comes, I just hit check-in, change my seat, and then I grabbed an aisle seat for free. Like, I was able to change my seat. Boom, no problem. I'm like, yes. So many people were on that bottom level trying to check their bags, trying to like print out their boarding passes and stuff. It's like, what are you people doing? We have phones. I don't get it. So there's a million people down there. I was a little scared. Part of me wanted to check my suitcase. Here's tip number 3. You can tell the flight's pretty much sold out by, well, if you're going from one coast to the other, it's going to be sold out unless you live in one of those flyover states like Hannah. It's gonna be a sold out flight. So what you do is you don't check your bag. You wait, because about 10 minutes into it, they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, all the overhead compartments are full. We are checking bags for free." So I took my suitcase over there and I waited, and sure enough, they're like, checking bags for free. So I get on this airplane. I'll try to make this fast. I get on this airplane, and I have my aisle seat, and there was this girl next to me. She was super cool. I think she's subscribed now after our little hangout. So she sat next to me on the plane, and I was like, "Hey," and she's like, "Hey," and we're like, there was a third seat that was open. We're like, "Oh," I said, and me, like, I talk to everybody. I'm like, "I wonder who's gonna get the window seat." Right. And then it's like some dude. So, oh my gosh, this really interesting guy, old man, sits next to both of us at the window seat, and he's an animal environmentalist. So he goes around to like Brazil and all these other like Brazil-like locations that I can't remember off the top of my head, and like photographs the animals and like tries to save the animals and stuff like that. But not like a save the animals, but like more of a documentarian kind of activist person-y thing for a company that sounded way more important than what I do for a living. Which is all armpit farts and neck movements. So we were hanging out in this aisle, and the girl next to me was like, "Oh yeah, I came to see my friends, and we just ate the world's like hottest chicken burger like 2 hours ago." And I'm like, "And then you're getting on an airplane, lady? Like, oh my gosh,
do you
want the aisle seat?
You're crazy." right. Which in hindsight, I probably should have just given her the aisle seat. So we're sitting there, and you guys can see in the videos, there was this crying baby, right? And I am okay. Like, I have insane amount of patience. Like, growing up, Blake would make like, he's like Dumb and Dumber. He's like, you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? And he'd be like, ah, you know, and stuff like that. And Crystal would just go nuts. Oh, stop. I was just like, I wonder how long he can keep this up for. Like, I'm that kind of person. So I'm not easily bothered. I don't think I'm easily bothered. But
no, I don't think you are.
I'm not easily bothered. So there's this crying baby that was a combination of like, after you have kids and stuff, you could identify things in other kids. The kid was tired, maybe like 3-4 years old, about 3-4 years old. Like, kid was tired, rubbing her eyes, yelling and screaming, and bad parenting, like just bad parenting.
Right,
so
right.
They're sitting there, and the kid's just going nuts, and the dad's got the kid. The dad just ignoring the kid. The kid's unhappy for about 40 minutes. I have these fancy ear canceling headphones, which, oh my gosh, are your headphones ear canceling or noise canceling? I mean, ear canceling headphones.
Ear canceling.
Noise canceling headphones.
I only have the one in right now, but I'm gonna say yes. I think so, because when I put them both in, it does. It sounds like everything
right.
feels different. So
Yeah.
yes, I would say yes. I don't know if that's actually a feature on them. I have a brand new pair somewhere.
I have these, I have
maybe?
these AirPod Pros or whatever, so I can hold a button down and then it shuts out the world. It's the most amazing thing ever. If you just want to stop listening to your significant other talk, pop those in, hit the button, and literally it sounds like they're only moving their mouths, right? Then you hold down the button again and you can listen to your stuff, but I can also hear what's going on, almost like a microphone picks it up, right?
Right.
So I put these things in my ears, I hit the buttons, pretty much silence, right? You know, the people 2 rows behind me, though, were not as happy. They were yelling and screaming. They were yelling STFU. They were just like, and I'm like, dang, like, this is crazy. Parents still not fazed by this at all. The mom just crashed out, went to sleep, right? So then, this is the point of the story of the baby.
I don't understand how people can do that.
Oh, I just wouldn't. You know what? I was so lucky. Blake never, ever caused trouble. He never ran around the restaurant by himself. He never was out of control.
Right.
I never had to take him outside, but I also never brought him to the movies. You know,
right?
These people bring their kids to the
At
movies.
the age of 2.
I know, right? The umbilical cord's still attached, and they're in there trying to watch Avatar, and I'm just like, yeah, the kid ain't gonna sit through like a 2-hour movie. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
So here's the point of the part of the story. So the stewardess comes over there when the lights go off finally, boom. Which, you know, the pilot, they all look like they're 18. The pilot's like, hey, we're gonna have some turbulence, and I hate that. Don't tell me, just surprise me.
Right.
Don't tell me you're gonna punch me in your face. Just surprise me. Punch me in the face. So after that went away and stuff like that, she came over and gave the kid some juice, and the kid was quiet, right? For about 15 minutes, you know, the kid was stoked for about 15 minutes, and then the kid was like flinging off her shoes and stuff. So then at one point, you know how it goes, you get the clear plastic cup, the juice is in there with all those like the airplane ice, you know, the ones that are like square but have a hole in the middle, almost like a donut hole, right?
Yeah.
So the kid's sitting there, and the dad's holding the kid, and I have an aisle seat, and the kid's on the aisle seat, one up and across from me, just like dunk dunk. And just
so you have a good view.
Oh yeah, just yeets the cup of ice, holds onto the cup, and just kicks. Wah! And the whole ice just comes at me. Not even in slow motion. It's dark in there because they turn off the lights and stuff at night. Boom, boom! Just like it's raining ice on me and the person next to me, but she's passed out. She's noodle necking along. So she's passed out because she said she pulled an all-nighter, and just like throws ice all over me. I don't flinch. Because, you know, I just didn't flinch. And I just kind of, like, brushed the ice off me. And then she managed to, dump out all her, like goldfish, like the goldfish crackers. And so those were all mashed up again on the ground, right? I'm like, okay, well,
gosh.
That's crazy. So I landed in Detroit at 2 a.m. my time, which is, like, 5 your time, right? So I get to Detroit. Yeah. I get to Detroit. And I have like a 3-hour layover. That's just how it is. And I'm gonna hop on another plane, which
it didn't start like that though. Like when we originally booked your flight, you only were supposed to have like an hour. I think it was like an hour and 10 minutes in Detroit, and then it just kept getting more and more and more.
Right. Yeah. As they took, what it is there's like 3 flights I think that leave out that day or something like that, and as the tickets don't sell, they start compacting it all into one airplane.
Yeah.
So it left early. I'm like, whatever. Like, all I have is time. I'm middle-aged, but all I have is time on my hands, right? Like, I don't mind. Like, all I want to do is get to Novi. Keep in mind, I landed in Detroit,
Right.
which is about 45 minutes away from the actual convention.
Yeah.
So I get there. I got about 3 hours to kill. I'm awake. Like, I walk around. The Detroit airport is so rad. They have like a monorail there. They have this like underground monorail. They have this underground tunnel. Oh, I was humming it in my head every time I see it. And I saw it last time I came to Detroit, which was about 6 years ago. I landed in Detroit where you came to scoop me up.
Yeah.
Right. So I landed in Detroit, and then there's this cool tunnel that has to take you from the worst layout of an airport. I will say that. It's laid out like the letter H, right? So you got two big runways, and then you have this tunnel that goes underneath. And it's got, the only thing that came from the future of the Jetsons is that people mover that you stand on, and it's like it's like the world's largest treadmill. Like Gallagher would run on it. Like, you could exercise on this thing, and it's like a half a mile long.
It's a flat escalator.
Yeah. Flex escalator.
So if you the steps that go up, if you took all those steps and smashed them, that's what it is.
Yep, and it's just a big conveyor belt, right? And there's rules. Yeah. The right side says stand, the left side says walk in case you're late and stuff like that. But under this tunnel that goes underneath the airport where the planes land, they had a light show. They had, like, it was all dressed up for Christmas. You guys can see it in the vlog. Lots of copyrighted music on there. It was really super cool. LAX just has gunshots and sirens. If you guys ever come to one of our live streams, you've heard both. So I thought that was super fascinating. I loved it. So I get off the airplane. I listen to all the stuff and the music as it soothes me all the way over to where I am going, which is on the small little La Bamba plane that's going to take me from Detroit to Traverse City. And the only thing I am concerned about, which I'm happy to see, was weather, because I haven't seen weather out here in ages. Like, the 10-day forecast that says clear is going to be clear for 10 days. So I'm sitting there, and then a bunch of hours go by, and everybody that wants to go to Traverse City looks the same. They all have, like, golf hats on and stuff like that. They all just look like older people. Like, there wasn't really much young people that were on the flight. It was just the older people. So I'm sitting there, and of course I look like a fish out of water. And I'm waiting, and it's like, I was. Then it's time to load, and I'm looking, because I got my new phone that I got, has unlimited data now, it built in, so that's a new feature for me. So I'm sitting there, I'm waiting, I'm looking, they start loading people on the plane, and this plane's small, there's only 2 rows of seats on each side, right? So they load like half the plane.
Mind you, while you are landing in Detroit, about 30 minutes or so after you landed, I had to wake up early because I have to drive all the way to Traverse City to come get you.
Which is how long?
2.5 hours.
That's right.
So I'm on my way to Traverse City as you're landing in, you landed pretty much, I think you got to where you needed to be to take off, and you texted me and said you were there, and I'm like, yep, I'm leaving the house. So I start my drive across the state to come get you so that I can make sure that I'm there 15 minutes before the plane lands, just in case you land early.
Right.
So so continue. So I'm on my way there.
But what's the weather like? Is it snowing yet across the state? Did you have bad weather? I don't recall.
So the concern the day that you landed was that it was going to start snowing. When I left here, it was basically clear. I did take a wrong turn and took a road I didn't want to take, so I was on a back road that was snowier than I wanted it to be, and I had called Jamie because I wanted to make sure he knew where I was as I was going across, and I'm like, I'm not taking this way back because the road is horrible. So I got slowed down a little bit on the way there by icy roads, not really snow. It didn't really start snow. It snowed in the middle of the state, but by the time I got to Traverse City, it was clear. It was beautiful. There was no snow. It looked beautiful to me. So
yeah, and
but I got to Traverse City
weeks before I showed up. We had this concern that it was gonna snow. And Steve, Loki the Siberian, I don't know if he's buddies with the snow miser or what, but he's always got this inside information on the weather with these like weather maps and these heat maps of weather and stuff like that. And it was just like calculation with an abacus to see like if it was gonna snow when I came or not, which this city boy was a little bit concerned. I flew only, I think, like 1 time or 2 times in my life before I started coming out to see you a bunch. So everything was super new to me. I've now flown enough, so I have enough flying data, and I've gone through turbulence. That one time we almost flew out of the sky. That, like, I'm okay now. Like I'm more relaxed
Right.
on an airplane. I don't have clenched butt cheeks. I'm pretty chill on an airplane. I was a little concerned about the icy snow weather, but not too bad because they have to go through it all the time. You know what I watch? I watch the faces on the stewardess, which don't ever change. Of like, oh, they don't look like that. They're like praying. So I think I'm okay. So they load half the people up on this airplane, which is like 12 people, and then the lady stops and shuts the door to go down like it's like a bendy straw to get on the airplane. I don't know what it's called, the bendy straw walkway. And I'm like, this is crazy. And meanwhile, it is cold now. Like, it is cold. I'm still wearing Cali clothes. It is cold. Then she's like talking to the pilot, who I can see out the window on his little plane. He's got his little slider open, and they're talking on the walkie-talkie. And then they start unloading everybody. I'm like, uh-oh. And they're like, well, the runway's icy where we're going to land, so we can't take off yet. So I'm like, okay, that's fine, whatever. Like, that's fine. At this point, like, I'm up more than 24 hours now. Like, I'm up.
Right.
So I'm sitting there waiting, and then out comes the pilot. He locks the door, takes his coffee mug, and just walks by everybody, and then just disappears into the fog. You know, like a video game when you have that, like, range of view. He just, like, disappears into the fog. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So fast forward to like 2 or 3 delays later, finally about an hour and a half later, like I get to take off. Maybe about an hour and a half later I get to take off. Maybe a little bit less than that.
Well, I had pretty much gotten to Traverse City when you texted me and said that they were deboarding the plane.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, what the heck? And so right away I was like, can I get your flight switched to get you into Alpena? But I'm like, well, if they're not flying into Traverse City because of ice, then there's 100% chance they're not flying. Because my biggest concern, I didn't want to fly you into Alpena because we have that issue all the time at our airport where they're like, oh, plane's not landing because there's ice on the runway. There's nothing we can do. So that was why we chose to fly you into Traverse City, even though we knew there might be snow. We thought we'd be safer coming into there than coming into here. Turned out the flight from Alpena actually landed on time. The flight to Traverse City did not. But when you texted me, I was pulling into the edge of the Traverse City general area, and I'm like, well, if you're gonna be delayed, like, I'm gonna go to the casino.
Which the last few times you've been to the casino, I think almost every time you've been up.
I usually do good. Knock on wood. It was funny though because I pulled in and there was nobody in the parking lot, and I pulled in and parked, and I figured I would call Jamie, let him know what was going on. I think I called you and talked to you for a little bit, and we were like, well, we'll figure it out. You know, hopefully it'll take off within the next 30 minutes or so. And when I pulled into the parking lot at the casino and there was nobody there, I Googled it on the phone. I'm like, oh, they don't even open till 10 o'clock. So there was nobody at the casino. Nobody. And then this guy pulls up and taps on my window, scared the crap out of me, and asked me what time the casino opened. And I'm like, I don't know, I think they open at 10. And he's like, oh, okay, I'm going to go park closer. Because I was parked way at the back of the parking lot. Just because I was just sitting there. I didn't know if I was going to go in. I didn't know if you were actually going to take off.
Right.
And it was so funny. By the time they opened, I took a picture. It looked like Black Friday. There was people lined up outside the casino waiting for the doors to open. And I think I texted Jamie and I'm like, I feel really awkward sitting here waiting for the casino to open. But what else was I going to do? I had to wait for your plane to land, and I didn't know if you were going to make it in or not. And at the same time, I'm watching this storm come across going, man, if they don't land you soon, they're not going to land you today, because it's the storm that I had drove through in the middle of the state was kind of closing in on Traverse City, and then there was another storm coming in from the other way. So I started to go, you might be trapped in Detroit there, friend.
Yeah, I thought maybe I was just going to stay there. There was a movie with Tom Hanks, and he was trapped at the airport because he didn't have a passport for like a month or something like that. And I'm like,
right.
It's cool. That's my survival guide. Like, I'll just repaint one of the aisleways, and I'll just live there. I'll shower there. Yeah, so you went into the casino for a little bit because I was supposed to be there at 8:30, and obviously 10 o'clock rolls around and there's no Dan. So what happened at the casino?
I don't remember. I walked in. I think I said, I think I made the joke that I was going to win, was it $400 or $500 or something? Whatever it was, I walked in with $50, and I do this every time I go to a casino. I walk in with a certain amount, and that's it. Because, pro tip for going to a casino, if you're not willing to lose it, don't go in.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not willing to lose $20, don't go in. If you're not willing to lose $50, don't go in. But go in knowing that's all you're going to spend. And right. I have this thing where I am the lamest person at a casino. I will pull out my phone, I will put money into a machine, and I will, every time I win, I will add how much I won. And when the amount on the screen matches what's on my phone, I pull the money out. No matter what. If I'm ahead or below, I pull the money out and that money goes in my pocket. I don't touch that again. I only play on the original $50 I brought in. That's it. Well, I think I hit on the first machine. I think I walked out of there. I walked in with 50 and I think I walked out with, I think it was 500 was what So technically I won $450 in like 15 minutes. And I just went from machine to machine to machine, and I'm like, that's it, I'm done, I'm going. You had the bad luck. And I'm like, oh, look, I made all the gas money we need to go to Novi.
Yep. Yeah. So good for you in a good way. Like, good for you. Like, that's awesome. See, and I'm here just making you cash by waiting.
Right? Yep.
My butt's cold because the seats are cold. I'm waiting. So finally they board us onto the plane. Apparently what happened is if there's knowledge that the runway is frozen where they're going, they're not allowed to take off legally. I'm just like, forget it. Like, put one of those pillows at the end of the runway. We'll like slide into a pillow. It'll be good, right? So I'm still a little nervous because we're in one of those little tiny planes. And so we take off, we go, we land, no problem. I hop out, I get in the car, we drive back across state, which was it was starting to get crummy, but I think we made it back pretty much with no events.
It didn't get bad. Like, the weather really didn't get bad till we were about 25 minutes away from my house. And I knew by that point we were fine. I'm like, we'll be fine. If it takes us extra time to get, we're fine. We're close enough to where I was comfortable.
Right. But another beautiful trip across the state. It's so pretty there. I count barns because everybody's got a red barn, and it's so cool. I always wonder what's in the silo. Is it milk? Is it chocolate milk? Is it corn for the chickens? Like, what's in there? So off we go to your house. It was great. The next day, no, I think I was there for one day before we had to leave for Novi the next day. So during that time, we ran errands, we caught up on stuff. We took 200 of the coloring books and we Paul stamped them. Boom, boom. That was so fun. That was like a production line. I'd open the book, he'd stamp them, to close the book. I'd open the book, stamp them, close the book. I think that was the only thing that was eventful that time. And then it was time to go. Time to take that 3-hour trip down to Novi.
Yeah, so you showed up Wednesday. We got back here at like, I don't know, it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon or something by the time we got back to my house.
Yeah, 17-hour travel day. We did all the paw print
stuff. And then the next morning, we had all day Thursday. We had to wait for Greg to get off of work before we could leave. So Thursday was like, make sure we have everything. Make sure we're not forgetting everything. Which we still forgot stuff, because that's just the way it is.
That's right. We forgot the banner even though we pulled it out and had it ready.
Yep. I still forgot it.
I thought you had the banner. No, I thought you had the banner, and then we had
Nobody had the banner.
We had no banner. So off we go downstate.
Thanks,
with
Staples for saving us.
With no issue except for the one time that we wanted to stop for a bathroom break, and you were not stopping in Saginaw. You're like, you will hold it or hang it out the window, Dan, but we are not stopping in Saginaw. And so
we stopped before. Or quite a ways after.
Yes, which was odd because these rest stops have ice cream machines in there when it's literally ice cream out. Like, you can literally just take a ice cream stick and stick it in the snow and have your own pop. But you guys had ice cream machines at the rest stop, which was crazy. So we get there. The hotel's amazing. When I say amazing, infinite hot water and fast Wi-Fi, 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars. Greg and I shared a room. Oh my gosh, I have so much fun with that guy.
It is a Hyatt Regency. So those are like the higher end. Like, those are like the business class hotels. That's why you got better internet.
Yeah, I'm used to like a Motel 6 or a bed and bunk. Where it's like you might be paired up with somebody else. You don't even know. It's like spin the wheel. I don't know. So I was bunked with Greg, which we had a great time camping. When Greg and I went camping, him and I slept in tents outside. While you guys had your own little mini Hyatt Regency trailer,
right?
A camper. So I had a good time with Greg. So Greg and I were roommates at the hotel room. We didn't have to share the same bed thanks to Jess. We almost had to share the same bed.
We almost all had to share the same room the first night.
Right.
Because, like, we weren't going to show it. We were going to leave early Friday, and then I shifted it and said, no, I want to leave Thursday because I want to be there early because I hate panicking on Friday morning of trying to get out of the house and have everything ready. And then, like, that... And Greg originally wasn't going to go. So it was like, well, for the first night, whatever, Dan can sleep on the couch. Because the rooms have, like, the big beds, and then they actually have a pull-out couch. We're like, all right, first night, Dan can sleep on the couch, and then he has his own room for the next 2 nights or whatever. And then, like, the day we went to leave, I'm like, I should probably extend that. Because 4 of us in a hotel room with the dogs, with all of us just getting there after being exhausted from driving all day, we should probably get 2 rooms.
Yeah. I mean, I would have slept anyway. I would have slept in the bathtub. I'm easy. But yeah, that was
Right?
actually nice. But the second room only had 1 bed in it.
It did originally.
Yes.
Oops.
Yeah. But we made it happen. We had a 2-bedroom room. Don't worry. Greg and I didn't have to cuddle. We didn't have to cuddle, fortunately. But oh man, I had such a great time bunking with him. We'd stay up so late just talking crap about whatever was on TV. Die Hard 2 was on. We picked that apart. And the old Fantastic Four movie came on. And we picked that apart. And just, but we just stayed up. We stayed up way past our bedtime every night. Having so much fun just talking. So I can't wait to see what adventure we go on with Greg next, because that was a lot of fun. So we get to the Pet Expo. The Pet Expo is, it's like the hotel's like connected to one big building. It's so freaking cool. It's so freaking cool.
Fluffing. Just say fluffing.
Fluffing. There you go. I was like, this is rad. It's freezing cold outside, but it's nice and warm inside. So we set up for the convention on Friday, and then that's when we realized we didn't have the banner.
Well, and the other thing was, you guys all asked me before we left, you're like, do we need to bring boots? And I'm like, no, it's not going to snow. Sure enough, Friday morning, we wake up and it's snowing. And I'm like,
right.
Nobody brought boots. I have to walk the dogs around outside. I'm like, my shoes are going to be soaked. I'm totally screwed. And my shoes were soaked.
Yeah. I think I left my boots at the house because I swore that there was a spider that came out of it. This big old yellow looking banana spider.
That is true.
And so I did not want anything to do with my boots. So I had my like running shoes on. You guys seen them in my video. So my toes were kind of cold, but it was okay. We didn't have to go outside too much. Which was good.
No. I was outside more than everybody else, just with between Jamie and I, letting the dogs out and stuff. But it was only that first day where there was the snow, and I'm like, oh, now I have wet toes. Oh well.
So we get there, we set up, we're waiting for everybody to show up, and we realize there's no banner. So Jess makes a phone call to, was it Staples?
Yeah. So I went back up to the room, and I thankfully had brought my actual work computer, which I almost didn't do. I brought my work computer and I loaded up Photoshop to see if I had the original file, and I did. It was on this computer, which this is a new computer, so I didn't even know if it was going to be on there. So I had the original file, and I'm like, well, I'll just get one of those like Insta banners printed. And at first it was like, I think I looked at like Office Depot was the first place, and they couldn't get it done. And then Staples said they could get it done, and they had an option for, it was like $20 extra, but they said they would have it done that day by 3:00. But the convention started at 2:00, and it was 10:30 when we realized we forgot it.
Yes.
So I was starting to panic, like, okay. And I got it submitted. I sent everything over, and I'm like, okay. And we went to go get lunch, and I'm like, we should stop by Staples and see if they can rush this order even more. Like, we need it we needed it like at minimum 1:30, because we had to be back there and be at the booth at 2:00. So we went into Staples and talked to the nicest kid ever. Like, the kid was so nice. When we came in there, he apologized for not having it done, and I'm like, whoa, I just submitted this thing like an hour ago.
Right.
But we walked in there, told him our situation, and he finished helping the lady he was with and immediately went to printing our banner. Told us it would be like, I don't know what he said, like an hour. Yeah. So I think that's when we went and got lunch. We took it back to the hotel. We shoved everything in our faces, and then we left and went back to Staples and picked up our banner. Thanks, Staples.
Which was there. I will say, it was like everything had to work out perfect to get that banner. And it was the first time I've seen a big corporation come through perfectly like they said. The banner was perfect. It had the grommets in it. It was the right size. It wasn't messed up. The ink wasn't off. It was sitting there ready to go. And it worked perfectly. So we ran back. Nobody even knew. We ran back, hung the banner up.
Yep.
And then we were on. I mean, of course, something has to happen, right? At least like that was the thing that had to happen. We had everything else work. The credit card machine was all set up to take your Venmos and your PayPals and all that stuff for the coloring books, and it was great. And it was my first time in public since I've been a full-time, or even since pretty much I've created anything for all the years that I've created, that I got to see people that actually wasn't family members that watched my stuff. Up until then, it was text on the screen, but now I got to actually see the people behind the keyboard.
And in 2019 when I went, I remember texting you on a daily basis going, you should have been here, because I wanted you to come in 2019, and like you said, it just didn't work out. But I could not believe the amount of people in 2019 that asked about you guys, that wanted, oh, maybe next time, maybe he should come next time. And it was like in 2019 was when it was decided you will be at the next Pet Expo, because people know who you are. They want to see you. Like, this is the expo, like the core group of people. And it's not even just the people that are close. People will come in from all over the place, but the core group, the real hardcore people, they show up. And those are the people that they follow the podcast, they follow you, they follow the dogs, they follow the vlog channel, and they want that interaction. And I was so excited that you were actually able to make it and experience what I was trying to explain to you. Because you did the expo with us when we did the LA PetCon. I remember trying to explain to you that PetCon is not Novi.
No,
Novi is so different.
Dull comparison.
PetCon is literally like, people are there, you get 2 minutes with people and they're shoveling, and I don't like that. I love talking to people and hearing their stories and hearing, what they like about what we do, why they watch what we do. And I I don't want to get ahead of us, but I think the thing I took the most out of this Pet Expo, as silly as it is how much people wanted us to bring the podcast back.
Yes, me too. I thought this was just not, I don't want to call it a throwaway thing. I thought it was just something that we did, and I didn't think we were ever going to bring the podcast back at all. We did it. It was like, well, if we're going to put our efforts into a project, let's do something new. We did 2 years. That's a lot. 2 years of podcasts. There's over 100 episodes. I feel like we conquered it. But I also, even standing here right now, didn't realize how much I missed it as well.
Right?
But yes, all the people that were just like, I listened to it at night. I'm on my third listen through. I remember when this happened. And it's feedback that, like, I didn't see, because when you listen to the audio version, you're not commenting anywhere. The YouTube video version will get comments, and it's the same comments. It's the same people that comment on our videos and stuff like that. So it's great. So like, I like that. But the amount of people that I didn't know that listened to the podcast, it blew my mind. I really did not understand the reach or what it meant to people. People were like, you guys are like one of the nicest podcasts of all the podcasts we listen to. And I'm like, I did not realize that at all. So that made me like surprisingly surprised. Like, I was surprisingly surprised about that. But it was cool. I thought it was fantastic. It was great meeting everybody. I was just so excited, and every person that came up like knew who I was. Even at the LA PetCon, I saw like one person said my name, like, "Oh, hi, Dan." I'm like, "Oh, hi," but like I didn't know, like, and I wasn't like in front of the camera really that much at that point. That was like the middle of the year when I was still working at the bike shop and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, you had vlogged, and we had been, I think we had the podcast then, or did we start it right after that?
Oh, no. We had the podcast already for about a year.
Yeah, we had the podcast
at that point.
Yeah. And so, like, we had that, but you weren't doing, like, the live streams and the interactive stuff that you do now. So I think
no game show yet, nothing yet.
Right.
Yeah, nothing yet like that. So people weren't really, like, they just said hi to me, but they didn't really know.
Right. So I think this was, and like I said, it was what I was trying to explain to you in 2019. I'm like, people do want to meet you. They want to know who you are. Like, and I wanted you to be able to experience what a Pet Expo should be.
Right.
Like, that's what a Pet Expo should be. It's literally like, it's like I said, it's like the main floor of VidCon with animals. That's what it reminds me of.
I will say it's a little bit stressful. So like, everybody brings their dogs, which is so crazy because, like, you don't know what your dog's going to do. Like, one of these guys some of these people have to have misbehaved dogs. Like, I see the way you treat your children, your dogs are going to be, better. So I'm there and I'm just like, I thought it was just going to be a bunch of rumblings. Everybody brings their dogs and just like lets the dogs come up to your dog. But your dogs are the best behaved dogs ever. Oh my gosh, they had to deal with they are like a celebrity at a meet and greet where you just have to like just weather the storm, and they did. They were so good. They were so polite. They listened. They obeyed. They weren't easily distracted by all the other dogs that were there at all.
It is by far, I swear, it's Memphis's favorite thing. I mean, when we got there, she knew where we were. And she didn't want to go into the hotel room. She wanted to go to the expo.
Yes.
She wanted to pull me that way. Like, she was like, Mom, this is where we're going. This is where I get my pets. Like, Memphis, that's why I think the whole pandemic has been so hard for me. That dog doesn't understand. She doesn't understand why she can't go get to see people and why she can't get all her snuggles. So she was the happiest I have seen her in the past 2 years. And Kira likes people. She likes dogs. She likes all that stuff. This is all still new to her, but she, like, would get into that mode where she would sit down and people would start petting her, and you could just see where she was like, oh, this is nice. I can handle this.
Yes. Yeah. So they were good. Everybody else's dogs were there, and I was a little nervous because I'm still learning the difference between, look, the dogs are having fun or they're fighting. Like, sometimes I just back up a couple steps, or I'd see a dog that was kind of big and like the dude's just holding it and like not paying attention. I'm like, oh, this can't be good. So I did get nervous a few times, and it is deafening in there. It is loud.
It's very loud.
It is very, very, very loud in there. So that was it. I was a little bit nervous. Every dog I saw was bigger than the next dog. They just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it was so cool. I swear at one point it was 2 people that were in the horse suit walking around. They weren't even dogs. They were that big. They were like Clifford size. It was so crazy.
Was it the Mastiff? You saw that big Mastiff, and then
Yes.
that big Irish Wolfhound? The Irish Wolfhound is the tallest breed of dog. One of the tallest breed of dogs. So you really did see some of the biggest dogs you'll probably ever see.
Oh, for sure. I got to pet them, and their heads were so big. It was like a Chewbacca. I was just like they were just so big. So we are there, and our booth is right across the street from this, like, right across the way from this little, like, fenced off running area where they take this tissue and put it looks like the ghost that you make in school, where you take the cotton ball and a rubber band and a tissue, and then you, like, make a little ghost out of it. What are those things called?
It's called a lure course.
Okay. So the lure course, I wanted to run, but they weren't going to let me run the lure course. It was a bunch of no-dans for it being a dog expo. Like, I'm more evolved than a dog, but yet I
didn't tell you no.
To ride the rides. No, the really nice old lady that was there, I could not run on there, because then she has to let everybody.
You tried to tell me no.
I was concerned. So you set it up. You talk about what you're going to do.
So you wanted to run the lure course, which I thought was funny, and there was nobody around. And then I had been watching the other dogs do it, and I have an at-home lure course, which next time you come to visit, I will let you play with my at-home lure course.
Could you please?
And we can film it. I'll set you up a whole thing.
That does make me feel better.
So I don't let my dogs off leash ever, except for at home and in their own yard, in the places I know they're safe. So the way they have it set up, there's like these little walls that are angled, and it's just like banners on these metal wall things that the dogs could easily jump over or go through or whatever. So at first I was like, no way, I'm not letting the dogs do it. And then I'm watching all these people do it, and I'm like, you know what? Kira absolutely loves the lure. And I really think if that thing starts moving, she's not going to care about what's going on around her. She's only going to care about the thing that's moving, because that's what she does with the one here at home. And I think I said to you, I'm like, yeah, that was our theory. I'm like, I think she'll be okay, but I'm not sure. And I went back and forth, and then all of a sudden I was just like, you know what? We're here. There wasn't a lot of people around. You know, there was people at our booth and stuff, and I think PJ was there, and I can't remember who else was standing there, but I remember
Katie was
going,
there too.
Katie was there.
Yes.
I'm like, can you guys go and stand like here and here and here, and Dan, you stand here, and I'm gonna let Kira do this. And I remember the look on your face, and you're just like, I don't think this is a good idea.
I was not. Memphis fine. Kira, who is on a leash in your own yard, is gonna be off leash. So I remember, and you can see video of this on Snow Dogs Vlogs, on the Snow Dogs Vlogs video for Novi. It's just it's like a 3-foot tall little A-frame, that surrounds a course. It looks like a NASCAR, it looks like Daytona. And I remember standing over there next to Katie and PJ going like, all right, so when Kira decides to make a run for the border and jumps over this, like, are we catching? Like, what's the protocol? What am I holding on to? What are we doing? So I was nervous the whole time. So we let Memphis do it first, right? Yeah, Memphis did it first. Not a problem.
Memphis did it first, yes.
Yes, not a problem. Then it was Kira's turn, and man, that was one of the most nerve-wracking parts of the whole thing.
No,
like,
Memphis didn't do it first.
No, did we let Kira do it first?
Kira did it. Kira went first, and as soon as I had a hold of her harness, I had a hold of that leash, and I remember leaning down, clicking that leash, and going, "This is either gonna go really good or it's gonna go really bad." And I in my brain was like, "Kira, just do the thing you're supposed to do, and please be good." So the lady's like, I'm going to let it go by her and let her go. So it went by her, and I didn't let her go. And she's like, you have to let her go. And I'm like, run it by us real fast again. Because the reason I didn't let Kira go is her head turned, and she saw the lure, and then she looked the other way. And I'm like, oh, she didn't keep her attention on it. So I'm like, all right, well, let it go by again. I'm like, but don't stop it. So she let it by that second time, and Kira's eyes locked on that thing, and she just took off. She like took off, went around, and then the lady goes, okay, I'm gonna stop. And when she went by the last time, I reached and I had fur and harness.
Yep.
Just like, there's no chance you're getting away from me.
No,
I felt like such an idiot, but I'm like, no, you can't. You have to stay here. And so I caught her. She did it. She did exactly what I thought she was going to do. I was so excited. Like it felt so good to be able to experience that with her. And then we decided we were going to let Memphis try it, which Memphis, again, is a shadow dog. I knew that if Memphis wasn't going to do it, she would come right back to me without an issue.
Right.
And Memphis doesn't really care about the at-home lure course. But man, that thing took off, and she did the same thing. It went by, and Memphis's head turned, and she looked, and I said, run it by her again. And when it ran by the second time, I let Memphis go, and she made it, 2.5 times around? Before she was like, I'm running in a circle. And then she got distracted, and I walked right up to her and grabbed her. I had no issue grabbing Memphis, but Memphis did it as well. She went around 2.5 times before. I don't know which dog is smarter. Memphis would have continued to chase it, or Kira would have continued to chase it, where Memphis figured out it was going in a circle and was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, she wasn't my concern. But Kira, oh my gosh, I have to give it up to her. I was just like, this is a bad idea. And she was perfect.
She did so good. She did so good. Like, there was a part of me that was like, maybe I can take her to these events and let her do these fast cat things where, I really have to work with her on her recall, because right now she has 0. She will not come to me for anything at all, ever. So I have to fix that. But
a chance in it, and she proved herself, so she'll get another chance at it next year.
Good.
She'll get another chance.
Yeah, she did so good
next year. So yeah, I was proud. That was one of the more tense moments of the of the expo. What other good stuff happened there? I ate a lot of food. Oh my gosh, I ate a lot of dog treats. A lot of. I did. What was I? And that was one of the things I was gonna do. I wanted to jump into the pool. I wanted to get microchipped. I get lost easily. You guys see in my videos, like I get lost at the Walmart. Sometimes I'll be talking to you, I'm like, "Where's my car?" And then I'm in the Walmart parking lot, like, "Where's my car?" Oh yeah, So and then I wanted to taste the snacks. It's like I feel like we're at a convention. I need to eat the food of the people, and so what did I end up eating? I ended up eating. You had this purple bag of treats. But it was like liver or something like that, because it was tangy. It was something I ate that I'd never ever tasted before.
Yeah, I think I had the liver snacks, and I think I also had the salmon snacks, the little trainee treats. I had rabbit ones, so you could have ate rabbit. I don't know.
Maybe I should have, because the purple liver bag that I had, I only ate one of those, because they were what we were using to get the dogs to look for the photos. And then I was just like, oh, these are soft and squishy, kind of like, like Easy Bake something. So I tossed it in my mouth. That one was the only one that tasted really, really tangy. I'm like, whoa, I've never had this flavor in my mouth before. I don't like it. I don't like it. No, I vote no. Cyber Husky had homemade dog treats, which were delicious. So I'm just like, hey, if you're feeling gilly, do one of those. Can I get one? And I was like, nom, 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 nom. I didn't. The good news is, I didn't have to heel or sit or do anything for them. I just was able to do it. Then I was walking by this booth, because there's all these, and it's the same person in every booth, and they're selling dog treats and the snacks and stuff like that. And they had this cheeseburger, icing looking snack, which was made of yogurt and what are the orange potatoes? Yes, the sweet potatoes, right?
Sweet potatoes.
Yeah, what's a sweet potato? It's like a carrot and a potato crossed or something like that, right? So I had that, and actually I had that, and so did Greg. Greg had some of that with me, and you can see that.
He did.
I think all the food that I ate was in the actual vlog on RFS Dan on YouTube. And then at one point, Sarah and I went over to the animals, and there was a llama or a llama's mama or an emu or something like that. It was standing there. It wasn't an emu. It was like a llama variant. And you could buy the ice cream cones.
Was it the alpaca?
Yes, it was the alpaca.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
There was alpacas and there was goats.
And goats, right. So then I get the ice cream cone. You guys have done it at the fair. The ice cream cone with these little pellets in there. So I got to eat those, which weren't half bad. And I was eating it, and then at some point the alpaca was just like, "That's enough, Dan." Had enough, unsubscribed, and then ate the cone out of my hand. I saw the one goat over there looking at it like, dude, that's my food, man. You have thumbs. Like, why did you eat that? So I ate that too. So it was, I spent my calories wisely on the snacks.
You did eat some snacks.
Yeah. So another pro tip at home: try your pet's snacks because you might be excited and surprised on how good they taste.
We have some that are animal cinnamon and they look exactly like animal crackers, and that's what they taste like. They're all natural treats and they're apple cinnamon and they taste like animal crackers.
Yeah. So in a pinch, if stuff goes down, you can always go into the PetSmart and snack on stuff at the PetSmart. I will say though that there are these other bully stick things, and like I was trying to popsicle it, and it just wasn't working out for me. Like I tried, there was no dipping sauce. Maybe if it came with some dipping sauce, but I couldn't finish that one. As much as I tried to gobble it down, it just wasn't. It was a no go. It was a no-go. Otherwise, oh my gosh, everybody was so fun to be around. You had the most, I'll say it, you had the most popular booth out of anybody there at all. Most of the expo was people selling stuff, and there was like shows to go see with the awesome like
they have
dogs and stuff.
They have like different shows, and like I don't know if the birds were there because I didn't want to look for them, but
no
like
birds.
In the reptile area they would have different times where you could go and they would have shows over there, so there's a lot of like little mini shows that happen, so there's always something to do. And then they have like there's like some educational talk things that happen every once in a while we're there. There was a little bit less of those this year than normal, but I talked to the lady that runs the expo, and she pretty much said, the majority of people would walk in the door and want to know where we were. Where's the Gone to the Snow Dogs booth?
which I think, if you're listening, cool lady, which I thought she was super cool, you should be like placing the like prime people next to us. There was a wine tasting lady next to us who was really super cool, but like all she was doing was trying to get people to sign up for wine tasting. It's like that's prime real estate right next to where everybody's going. Should have mapped that out a little bit better next time. But it was cool. I got to see the shows. There was this really huge turtle that this guy was like snuggling on his lap, which was crazy. Greg got to go pet that turtle. There was the Britney Spears snake, that big old snake was there and stuff like that. I'm sure the snake's famous. He's probably got a name. It's probably Snakey or something like that. But all in all, the Pet Expo was rad. And you were right, Jess. At the end of the day, just after we leave, you're just destroyed. You're just like completely tired.
It's not that it's exhausting, because like we have chairs and we can sit, even though Dan said he wouldn't sit. I have photos of him sitting, so don't believe him.
That's photoshopped.
Not just when he was eating, I'm just saying. But like it's physically and mentally draining. Like the first day you're there from 2 to 9, the next day you're there from 10 to 8, and then the next day you're there from 10 to 5. By the end of the day, you've talked so many words. And it's not just that, you're talking and you're interacting with people and you want to make sure everybody's getting paid attention to, and there's so much going on. There's also, I have to pay attention to my dogs and people's other dogs and whose dogs are walking up to my dogs. And like, there's so much going on all at once. By the end of the day, your brain is just mush. You feel like you're super happy because you've met so many people that have said so many amazing, kind things. Like the stories that people come and tell us are just unreal. And so you get to the end of the day and you're like on an emotional overload, a talking overload, making sure everything, no dogs are getting out of hand overload. And literally at the end of the day, it was like, I think every day close to dinner time before we would leave, I'm like, we got to figure out dinner, because if I don't figure it out now and we don't go pick it up, I will make it back to the hotel room and I am done.
Yes.
But we have to eat.
Yes. And that's spoken like a true convention veteran. Because you've done this before. You're like, we got to start ordering food at this time. It'll show up at this time.
Yep.
You get back to the hotel room. So we leave, and the hotel's, obviously right there at the convention. So you pack up for the night, you leave, you get back to, we'd all go back to your room, and then it would be almost quiet while we just ate and watched hockey. And then that was it. Like 20 minutes after that, it's just like Greg and I would shuffle off back to the bedroom and hop in bed. Yep. And just kind of like, then we would stay up for hours. That's where it got late, because we'd stay up for hours just in bed, just talking about television,
you
and
guys
movies
would.
And Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then before
you guys would.
it, in a blink of an eye, it's like time to go again. And oh my gosh, real quick. Saturday I wore this suit, right?
Yes.
I wore this suit that, and you can see it in the video, that was so fun. It was this, it was like lights from, it didn't light up, but it was a suit that had all the Christmas lights on it. And that was great. I loved it. I felt very
so fun.
Festive. I took a lot of photos.
It was very fitting. I think that was the same day the dogs had their Christmas collars on.
Yes.
I put their Christmas collars on that same day, which I have to remember that for next year to bring, which next year, if the Pet Expo moves back to its normal time, it'll actually happen in early November. It doesn't normally happen in December. It normally happens in early November.
Correct.
So if it gets moved back, I mean, I'll still bring Christmas stuff because they still usually have a Santa there and stuff like that. But I have to remember that next year to make sure to bring like more than one, like, so each day they'll have different Christmas collars on, because I just thought that'd be fun.
And it was cute. They were dressed up very cute, but it was very festive. It was a lot of fun. I loved it. I loved it.
It was fun.
I think I might have to make that a thing
I'm
next
really,
time.
really glad. I am really, really glad that you got to experience what I've been trying to explain to you for all this time. Like, you know, don't judge the Novi Pet Expo based on what you experienced at PetCon, because it's not the same thing.
No, it is completely different. But the LA one reeked of LA. Like, it was was in concrete. There was nowhere for the dogs to go to the bathroom. It was pretty like bougie. There was no place for us to stand at all. Like, we had like it was kind of stressful, to be honest, compared to what we did.
Yeah.
But I ran around for 3 days like it was summer camp. It was fun.
Pretty much.
It was fun. I had the greatest time.
I look forward to it. I look forward to it every single year. I think this is. I have to figure it out. I can't remember if this was our 5th or 6th year that we've gone, but we've been going for a long time. The first time we did it, we went for 1 day because that was all we could do. So this must have been our 6th year, because the first time I remember we could only go for the 1 day because we worked. I worked at the deli and we couldn't get down there for the Friday. So we did 1 day. And then the next time we did, you know, we actually did, I think 2 days the next time. I think there was 1 day we weren't there. And then from then on, it was like, we got to be there every day. We have to be there every day. And you know, so worth it. So much fun.
When you go to the other conventions like Chicago or Toronto or something like that, I'm probably gonna get in trouble for saying Toronto. I don't know how you say it correctly.
Toronto.
Steve's gonna ream my neck for that. Do you get the turnout like this?
So the pet expos are different. Not the pet expos. I'm sorry. The pet cons are different because they're expensive. The tickets to get in cost quite a bit, so it's a little bit different of an experience. And the pet cons are different because people come in to see multiple pet I don't like that word, but pet celebrities, famous pets, whatever you want to call them, YouTube pets, Instagram pets. They come to see more than just us. Like, you know, you come and like Crusoe's there and there's all these other pets there. So like they spend more money, but they get to go meet and greet all of these different pets all at one time, which is fun for them. Whereas like the pet expos, like Novi, Toronto is very much, very similar to the Novi Pet Expo. The Toronto Pet Expo is even bigger than Novi, believe it or not. They actually have like a full dog show ring going on, and then they have like this whole area where there's these like big, huge dog activity shows happening, and then plus they have all of the booths, and then there is so much that goes on at that. It's way bigger than Novi. Like and the turnout we had for us going to Canada when we did that, the turnout we had was very comparable. It was very comparable. And to be fair, the turnout we had this year that you experienced was minimal compared to like the last time we were there.
That's what
and
you were
I think
saying.
It's just because people still, people still aren't fully used to, you know, being out and doing things and stuff like that, which is totally understandable. So the turnout we had, this was mild compared to like the last time we had gone. So yeah, when we went to Canada had a lot. We had a lot of people that showed up to see us in Canada. It was a lot of the same, where like the booth would get really full and then it would kind of calm down for a few minutes and you have a minute to breathe, and then all of a sudden it'd be a whole bunch of people again, and then it would kind of calm down for a few minutes. But yeah, that same type of thing. A lot of people came to see us in Toronto, and it's nice because like where Toronto is, there's a lot of bigger cities in that area with people that watch us that are able to make that trip. You know, because it's only like, you know, if you live in Windsor, I think that's only like 2.5 hours from there. So Depending on where you live in Canada, you can make that trip. Plus, if you live stateside, you can come in and get there. Like if you're in the New York area, you can come in and get there if you want to. So yeah, it's that would be, hopefully by next year we'll be able to get back to the Canada one, because I had so much fun there. That was so much fun. You'll have to get a passport so you can come there.
Yeah, now I'm addicted. You're gonna have to set that up for me, because I got a taste of the fun, and like now I didn't want it to end. We were tired on the third day. I didn't want it to end at all. Oh, what other great things happened there? That was good. That was pretty much it. It was all happiness and happy times, and everybody was great. It was so awesome meeting all of you. And then the last day, though, we had this little like cloud over our head of like, I'm fine with doing anything in Michigan until the people that live in Michigan are a little worried. And you were concerned about the storm that was moving in, that was going to keep us from getting back to Alpena, which is straight up north. Yeah. And like from like the globe that I look at, once you go higher on the globe, like it gets colder and snowier and stuff like that. So whatever it was going to be downstate was going to be magnified as we went up. So yeah, we packed up. It was time to go. It was a little after 5.
We packed up in a rush.
Yes.
We left at 5, and we had like, Jamie had our room done. You guys had your room done because you didn't have a room Sunday night. We had a room that we could have stayed at Sunday night. We could have left Monday, but Greg had to be to work Monday morning. So like while we were packing up down there, Jamie packed up our entire room. Everything was ready. Like when we came up there, he pretty much had everything on the cart ready to go out to the car. And we were like, we gotta go. We gotta get on the road. We gotta get north as fast as we can, because there was an ice storm coming that was going to hit downstate, which would eventually turn into, well, first it was like sleet, and then it turned to ice, and then it was snow. And we knew the longer it took us to get away from Novi, that we would be hitting that stuff faster. And I do not like driving on the expressway in winter snowstorms, because you get these people that think the speed limit's 75 miles an hour, I'm going to go 75 miles an hour. You cannot do that when there's ice on the road. They did. It wasn't that nuts?
Oh,
they just, gosh. I got 4-wheel drive, I'm going to go. Yeah, I got 4-wheel drive too, but I ain't driving 75 when literally you can feel the car doing this.
That was the most nervous out of all the travel, because we'll get to the me having to go home in a minute. That was the most nervous of the whole trip, because we get on there, you had nervous on your face even though you were trying not to. Jamie is always hyper cool, but he didn't debunk anything you said of like, but this might happen and this might happen. He's like, maybe. So we get on the road, and like it's hard to see out of the windshield, and there's all these like, I don't know, there's all these lights that I've never seen before. Out here we have red and blue lights. They were like green and yellow lights, right? And you're like, look, Dan, it's like the Salters, and it's like all these trucks that are staggered in all these lanes, right? And they're like putting stuff on the road, salt, I guess, on the road, and I don't know where
we were right behind the salt trucks.
Yes,
like
we were
there was 3-lane roads. We were right behind the salt trucks.
And we're in the like, so like we're kind of like in the slow lane, just kind of chilling, and Jamie's behind us and stuff, and the other Jeep, him and Greg were in the second Jeep. So then like in the fast lane, there's like cars just going zhong. There was trucks, but there was like Honda Civics. You guys know that gray Honda Civic you see a million of every day, and they're just going like it's nothing. They're trying to get past the snow salter thingamajiggers and stuff like that. And Jess is like, I don't know what to do. And Jamie's like, maybe we could pass them or not. And I'm thinking like, well, we probably shouldn't go ahead of like the plow thing, like that's putting ice on salt in the road. So I'm just sitting there like waiting to see what's gonna happen next. It's probably the quietest I've ever been.
You were pretty quiet, and I think I called Jamie 2 or 3 times while we were driving, and the third time I called him, I just remember saying, I want off the expressway. Tell me where the next place I can get off the expressway is. We can take the back roads. And then we had the discussion of, we can take 13, we can get off in Pinconning, we can do this, we can do that. And then I was just like, no, we're getting off now. Now is when we're getting off. I'm done. And we pulled off the expressway, pulled into a gas station, and I don't remember if you got out of the car or not. I know Jamie got out of the car, but and it was like that sleet ice, and I remember telling you, it's icy. When you get out, this is a sheet of ice, and it was like the sleet ice balls had turned into just solid ice, in this parking lot. And we're like, oh, great. And then in the back of my mind, I'm like, that's it. It's going to take us forever to get home. A 3.5 hour trip. It's going to take us forever. And then Jamie was looking at the weather while we were there to see if we could like skirt around the storm. And there was no matter what we did, we were heading straight into the center of the storm, no matter what.
Yes. It was
we pretty much filled up with gas and got our snacks, and we went on an adventure.
we sure did. It was crazy because, like, you know, they teach you in school that things freeze at 32 degrees. Yeah. And you could see it. It was like 33 out, and then literally when it hit 32, like the things changed on the road. You know, in my mind, I'm like, oh, 32 degrees, you know, around there, 34, 30, 31, whatever, like things will freeze. Like it like the dynamics of the freeway changed as we saw it change to like 32 degrees. It was so crazy. But as we traveled more, it was starting to snow more, and it was crazy. I don't know how to describe it other than it was just crazy. So it took us, like, how long did it take us to get down there? Like a little over 3 hours to get from Alpena to Novi.
It's 3 hours and 20 minutes on a good day.
And how long did it take us to get back to Alpena?
I think we said 6 hours.
6 hours. 6 hours. 6 hours to get back to Alpena, which was a long time. I didn't mind it. I thought, okay, like the time it took in the car wasn't on my mind. Like it didn't feel that long, but it felt like it was just, I guess because I think we were just like trying to like not die. But we never slid off the road. We never had a slidey moment. There were some little towns that we drove through that actually had pretty Christmas lights that we were able to see. Yep. And you guys can see this in the video. We have it. So we finally made it back up there. But I was more nervous than flying home when it was snowing. I was.
Right.
But I will say, when we made it back up into town, Jess found the parking lot at the mall area, right up the street from the house, because you have to right past it to go up the street there. And donuts. Oh, we were doing donuts. Victory donuts.
We made it. We didn't die.
We were doing victory donuts in there. And I think that's in the vlog too. It's in one of the Vlogmas days that I was doing. I put all those at the end of the video. But we were doing victory donuts there. And with that, our trip to Novi ended.
It was probably the second worst snowstorm that I think I have ever driven in.
I could see it on your face.
I've been through some with Jamie where he was driving that were worse than that, but he was driving. But like for me driving, that was probably the second worst storm I had ever been in. There were quite a few times where I could feel the Jeep kind of start to slide. And then I ended up having to put it in snow mode. And for most of the drive, we were driving 35 miles an hour, if that, all the way home. Like, I knew what to do. I knew we had to go slow. I knew I wanted to get off the expressway. I wanted to be with as least amount of cars possible. So, like, I knew what we needed to do. But I also knew it was going to take us forever to get home, which it did. But as we got closer and closer to home and the snow started to get heavier and the roads started to get more covered in snow, it was beautiful.
It was. It was just like television. It was so great. The flakes were actually real. It wasn't here like... It's like It hailed here a few weeks ago for a minute, and it's just like somebody poured ice everywhere. It was just beautiful, and the trees were there. A lot of people in their yards had full-blown... Because out here, like, you get one or two little decorations in your front yard and stuff like that. They had full-blown dioramas set up and stuff like that. Yep. So it was very, very beautiful, but if we were to get stuck in there, it might be like... horror movie creepy, just the way the light's shining on the snow and stuff like that, me being out of my element. So now that we made it back home safe and I'm back here safe, were you more worried than you led on to be, or not too much?
Yes. Definitely when we were on the expressway, and when I called Jamie and said, I want off the expressway, it wasn't just I want off the expressway. In the back of my mind, I'm like, we're going to get off the expressway or I am going to pull over and stop the car. Like, I did not want to be around all those other people. Like, that to me was the scariest point. And the problem is I went, the scariest drive I ever took was doing that. Was coming back from Detroit. I was by myself. I think I had Memphis with me. And the road turned from perfectly good road to ice. And I was doing 25 miles an hour on the expressway where the speed limit is 75. And I was watching people fly past me, and then you would just see headlights poof into the ditch. And I started counting cars as I'm on the phone with Jamie going, figure out how to get me off this road. I need off this road. I'm just going to take the next exit. I need to get off this road. I was so freaked out that time. I pulled into a rest stop and just sat there going, what in the hell am I going to do? I don't want to be on this road. I had counted 27 cars in the ditch. And I'm like, I don't want to be one of them. There was no traction on the road. It was absolutely insane. And Jamie ended up telling me where to turn, getting me off a road. Kind of the same thing like we did. I got closer to the lake where the road wasn't frozen, and I was able to make it home. But, so that was the scariest drive I ever took. I was borderline in the back of my head going, well, if we make it to Standish, we could just get a hotel and spend the night. We don't have to keep driving. We'll just get up in the morning. We'll get up early since Greg's got to be to work, and it'll be fine. And then the other part of me was like, or if Jamie really has to take Greg home so he can go to work, like, we'll get 2 hotel rooms. You and I can stay at a hotel, and they can keep driving, because I really did not want to keep going.
Right. And that was our concern of why we had to get back and not stay another day, is because we needed to get Greg back to work. Yeah, we got to get Greg back to work.
Yeah, because they let him have Friday off, which was very nice of them, and so he had to be there on Monday. But I definitely think I was more concerned than I tried to make it out to be. But it's a concern when I'm calling Jamie going, how do we get off this road?
Get off this road. Even though we took these back roads, which were like different than the freeway, like it was darker and stuff, and you had less help being out there. It looked like something out of Misery. You seemed a little bit more confident, but I don't get these cars that were just flying by. I did not see anybody go off the road. I didn't want to see anybody go off the road, but it would have been a sight to see if I'd have saw somebody spinning around to go off the road like bumper cars like that. I want to see it, but I don't, because that's somebody. But
I think if we would have stayed on the expressway, the closer we would have got to the exit we normally would have taken, you would have seen that. Like, because the next day they had said there were accidents on 75, blah, 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 blah. So I think, and that was the other concern. So the other concern is if we would have stayed on 75 and there would have been a major accident, we would have been stuck in a snowstorm, in traffic, on I-75. And I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, so that was crazy. That made it a long day, but the adrenaline was there. That I wasn't tired at all and stuff like that. So it was great. We got home safe.
Yeah, no, you didn't sleep in the car at all.
Did I fall asleep for a minute? I long blinked at one point, but I don't remember. And Jess went through about 200 songs.
200? There's 900 on that list, and I didn't make it through all of them, but there was way more than 200.
Yeah, you went there, which doesn't bother me at all, but it's 15 seconds of this song, 15 seconds of that song, 15 seconds of the next song. And I'm like, you do whatever you want to do. That doesn't bother me. It was like being in a car with TikTok.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it was like
that
being in a car with TikTok.
That must be why I like TikTok so much.
I know, right? So then that was it. So then we spent 2 more days in Alpena, and then it was time for me to go home. And those 2 days, oh my gosh, let me tell you, like, we usually go out and go adventure and go do stuff, and I go out and play in the snow. You notice you didn't see any snow footage? We spent all our energy and all our, like, everything inside us on that convention. That, like, we watched Frozen, we watched a bunch of movies, we just hung out, we got food. I don't even think
we had a mini game night.
Any of it. Oh yeah, we did, and that was a lot of fun.
We did.
We did have a mini game night. We played some Catan and stuff, and some Jackbox. That was a lot of fun, but low energy of just like chill. It just felt nice. I got to look out the window, and it was just pretty out there, and there was no responsibilities because I was far away from my computer. So it was nice for those couple of days before I had to go back just to do nothing. Like I said, we usually are like, let's go on an adventure. Now we spent all our energy at the Novi Pet Expo.
Yep, yes. Pretty much.
Yeah, so then it was time to drive me home, which wasn't too bad. Like, it was snowing, and it was another one of those things where we had like a window. We had a window to get me to the airport and get you back home. And I think we got there
before the storm hit.
Yeah, we got there pretty much without that much issue. There was snow everywhere.
There was a little bit of snow on the way there, and I started to get concerned that the middle of the state was going to be worse than the rest of it. And then on the way home, I hit it right before I got home again. But it wasn't anything like we had experienced the night before. And, you know, realistically, the road was pretty much fine the whole way. So
which didn't stop you from
it was pretty easy
going to the casino after you dropped me off. But you had to wait to make sure that I could get on the plane and I wasn't going to get stuck again and stuff like that. How did that casino do for you?
I won then as well.
Right? So you drop me off at this little tiny airport. Off I go. There's nobody in the airport. There's literally a dozen people in the airport. I go through TSA. They go through my bags and they take out my jelly. They take out my jelly and they throw it away. The lady wouldn't even take it. And she had no time for my antics, but that's because they had nothing to do. But she took my jelly. It's great because there's nobody in there and it's just me. And there's 3 TSA people standing there. And my bag goes through and it's like, sir, your bag's been flagged for further searching. And I'm like, and it's great. And it's like, I know, well, I've been watching the bag go through. And so if you could just say like, dude, we got to open it up. But it was great. Like they were so formal about it. So they start unpacking my stuff. And like, all you guys were so awesome that you brought me all kinds of stuff. So I have all this stuff that I got from everybody at the Pet Expo and it's perfectly packed in there. And they're like unpacking it all. I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna get it all back in here? So they give me, they take out my jelly because it's more than 3 ounces. And I'm like, no. Yep. And then Katie brought me this awesome pancake mix, which he let me keep because it was powder, which is odd to me. But they swabbed it. They like took the box and they were like running these like napkin wet naps over there and they swabbed it all. And then the lady's all like, you can go back out of the airport and mail it to yourself. Like if you want to keep the jelly. I'm like, it's fine. Like, could you take it home? And she's like, we can't do that. I'm like, oh, sorry. And then, so then I packed all my stuff back and then I get on the airplane. And then it just starts snowing. And you guys can see it in the video too. It just starts snowing and snowing and snowing. I'm like, uh-oh. And I'm on the little La Bamba plane. You know, there's 2 seats on each side. I'm on the little plane. And it pulls out onto the runway. And we're just sitting there. And then like 20 minutes, the captain comes on. And he's like, hey, like, we need to be de-iced. So it's going to take about 20 more minutes. And I'm like, cool, what's that? And it's this guy in this like fire truck drawn from memory. It was like a fire truck and then he had this like other cargo arm on there and he's got this like gun that he's shooting all this liquid all over the airplane, right? And it was like first it was orange and then he came back with a green layer. So I felt like an Easter egg. Like they were coloring an Easter egg. So after they shot all that over the plane and at this point it's like I've just gone through delays. I just gone through a 6-hour trip where the people that I'm with look nervous, more nervous than me. Like I'm hardened now. I'm like not worried. I'm like, you know what? If we can't take off this little fantasy island plane because the weather's too bad, they're not gonna chance it. They're gonna like not chance it, right? So they de-ice us, and I will say they de-ice us, and then we start going, and then we make that turn before you blast it, and I could hear us sliding a little bit. I'm like, ah. And then off we go, up into the air. And it was really neat. I was like watching out the window. It was all white and it was so beautiful. And as soon as we get up into the air, it's smooth sailing. Not 1 inch of anything was on our airplane after they de-iced it. They all should just like be de-iced. I don't know, all the time. It was cool. So we get up in the airplane and I'm crammed in next to this lady next to me, right? And we've already been delayed like 40 minutes. So I'm like looking at her and she looks more nervous than me. And I'm like, are you okay? Cause I talk to everybody. I'm like, you all right? And she's like, oh, yeah. I'm going to be late. Like I need to get back to my other flight. And like, I'm only going to have like, now at this point, like I'm going to have about 10 minutes before they close the doors. And I'm like, do you know where you're going? She's like, no. So like I have the app, another flight tip. The app has the airport and all the terminals of where you're going to go. So, and we don't have, it's only like a 45-minute flight to get to Detroit, because we're getting to Detroit. So we're flying, and I show her on the app where she needs to go, which is down through that long tunnel, up and over, because it's the letter H again, you know. So so at this point, they've checked all our bags. We had no choice. They have to check the bags in such a little plane, right? So we land, and we get off, and I start walking by her, and then since I was the last luggage to be checked on, I was the first luggage to be checked off. So I grab my luggage, and I start walking, and she's there, and she's all nervous, and I'm like, just go. Just go. I got you. I'll help you out. So I grab her luggage because she was like an older lady, and I could tell she didn't have the coordination, right? Like like, she's not gonna run through the airport like the McAllisters. It's just not happening. So I grab her luggage, and I have my luggage, and I run with her, and she gets on that running
People mover?
expressway thing. Yeah, people mover, and she's running. I'm running with her. And we get all the way out. I'm like, I know where to go. Go right and go over here. And then they're like closing the doors like it's a movie. And she's like, no. And because like when you go to LA, they're like, all right, at this point, nobody else can board. And then they won't let you board anymore. And they waited and let her get on. And I like rolled the luggage to the lady. I'm like, just go. She was trying to get to like her grown-up kids. She was probably like in her 50s maybe. And then I flung the luggage back over to the lady at the thing. She's like, well, just check it. No big deal. I'm like, wow, that's very un-LA of you guys. That's so nice. And then after bye, never to be seen again. Like, I don't know who she was. So she was not going to make it. She was not going to make it to her flight. She was going to like Washington.
And you saved her day.
I saved her. I helped save her day by just being faster.
That's how Jamie and I got trapped in Detroit. The first time we went to VidCon or the second time we went to VidCon, that's how we got trapped in Detroit. We flew from LAX to Minneapolis to Detroit it was supposed to be from Detroit to Alpena. So it was LAX, Minneapolis, Detroit, Alpena. When we got to Minneapolis, the plane landed late. The plane that we were supposed to be boarding landed late. And there was a woman who had a remote control, one of those remote wheelchairs, like not a push button, like you push the button and the wheelchair goes forward. So they had to load that onto the airplane, and of course they had to load her onto the airplane, then load her wheelchair onto the airplane. Then when she got off, they had to unload the wheelchair and then unload her. So it delayed the plane, like, I don't remember what it was. Started off being like 30 minutes. Well, when we took off, we were looking and we're like, we have 10 minutes to get from one end of the airport to the other end of the airport.
In Detroit?
We're never going to make it. In Detroit.
Okay, yes. So you have to do that letter H
we tried
thing.
We tried telling the people on the airplane, we're like, look, we have 10 minutes to get to this flight. And I'm like, it's never going to happen. And they wouldn't let us get off the plane. They wouldn't like help us board. And we were in the back of the plane, and it wasn't a very big plane, but we were all the way in the back. So we got off the plane, last people off the plane. And I told Jamie, I'm like, just run. You know where you're going. I got these little short legs. I ain't running. Run. And he just took off. So he took off. I'm going as fast as I can to try to keep up with him. He's gone. We get there, and he's sitting in a chair right outside of where we're supposed to board. We got there 2 minutes before the plane was supposed to take off. The plane left 10 minutes early.
Oh, you can't do that. It's not a bus.
10 minutes early.
Oh,
yep.
Man.
So we ended up missing. That was when we got trapped in Detroit. We missed our flight. We got trapped, and we ended up having to rent a car. It was crazy. It was absolutely nuts. But yeah, we ended up getting trapped in Detroit and had to rent a car after a red-eye flight. Rented a car, drove all the way home, and then the next day had to get up early and drive all the way to Gaylord, which is 75 miles away, return the car to drive all the way back home. I've been there. So I'm glad you saved that lady.
I did. I saved it, and it was fine for me because I still had 3 hours and 20 minutes until my flight, which at this point was about almost an hour less. So it was about a little over 2 hours at this point, right? So I finally got to do what I wanted to do last time I was in Detroit. I went and rode the monorail. So like I said, it's the letter H. So I'm all the way down at the one leg. I get on the monorail. It takes me all the way back. I get out. I get on the other monorail, and I rode it all the way back. It was so fun. Then I went to Potbelly's, that Potbelly sandwich place.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, I'm gonna get myself a salad. Oh, we're out of salad. All right, no problem. I'm gonna get myself a meatball sub. We're out of meatball subs. I'm like, no. So I did like an hour live stream where I ate food with napkins. And then it was time to, yes, right. So it was time to get on the plane. So I get on the plane all the way back to California, and it was pretty turbulent and stuff like that. I watched some movies. I stared out the window because I got a window seat because I went back to the app and grabbed a window seat. I grabbed a window seat, and it was pretty, I think in my head it was pretty smooth sailing. Like that was probably the most relaxed I've ever been on a flight. Now that I've been on so many airplanes, the movements, like I know what they are. They're not so scary anymore. I will say when I got on the airplane to California, You should have seen you could tell it was going to LA just from all the people and what they looked like there. I got on that airplane and I don't know what the rules are, and I don't think I was making it up, and some other people made a comment too, but it smelled like the devil's lettuce on that airplane. Oh my gosh. I don't know if Snoop Dogg was on there or what was going on, but whoo-wee, reminded me of home. So we get home, we land at LA, we land at LAX, and we sitting there, and as soon as we land, the lady comes on the radio, and she's like, all right, so just to let you know, if there's a lady back here who's not feeling well, so if you guys could make way for her to like just run off of this airplane first, that would be really appreciated. She shut it on the overhead, right? So we land, and then we're sitting there, and then 10 minutes go by, we're sitting on the tarmac, and the dude's like, I don't know what's going on. There's this airplane that's just sitting where we're supposed to be going to our bendy straw area. And we don't even know. We're trying to figure out what, he sounds irritated. He's like, we're trying to figure out what their deal is and why they haven't pushed out yet. So then another 20 minutes goes by. Yeah, we're still trying to figure out how we have nowhere to like unload and stuff like that. I'm like, ooh, that lady's not happy at all, right?
Right? The sick lady?
Yep. So 45 minutes goes by. No joke. And they're like, all right, we finally got cleared for this other place. So we like took a car ride in the airplane. I don't know where we went to at LAX, but we drove like around to the backside until they found like a place for us to let off. And soon as it went down, like as soon as we pulled in and the bendy straw came, everybody stood up and clogged the aisle. Nobody cared about this lady. And I was at the back of the plane. So I watched her just kind of stand there, not feeling well, and nope, nobody cared. Nobody let her, true LA fashion, nobody let her off at all. So you guys know if you've taken a plane ride, I sat there for another 25, 30 minutes before like it's my turn to like get off and go. And so, so then I'm shoving my way through people. Now I'm back in the land of people. So I'm shoving my way sideways through people because they're waiting for us to hurry up and unload and move so they can bring the plane back because all these other people are waiting to get on the new plane.
Right,
so
right.
I squeeze my way out of there. I hop on this bus. It takes me about 45 minutes away from the airport where Crystal's waiting for me at a stop. And, it's a 2-hour ride home. And then I finally got home like after midnight. So it was another like 17-hour flight day. But like, I don't know. I got home and I was just like happy and excited and stoked. The cats ran from me. Oh my gosh, the cats ran away from me like they had, they forgot all about me. But I came home like excited and happy for my trip, even though like you guys count how many hours I spent up in the air and driving in the car back and forth and all that stuff. It was probably one of the best times ever. Like I had such a good time.
It was a good trip. It was a really good trip. It really was. Like it, even though like you said, the last couple of the days after we did nothing.
It felt so good though.
It's still, it was a good trip.
It was a really.
I have a hard time doing nothing. I don't function well when I do nothing.
But we had no choice. We spent all our everything. Our voices were raspy. We were going to record the podcast there. We're like, we'll do 2, we'll do 1, and then we'll do another one. And there was no desire.
No.
I had my fill. I had my fill.
Yeah.
I just did 3 days of live streaming live.
Yep.
I was on 10 the whole time at the expo. We all were. We all
we were.
We all were.
We definitely were.
Yep, and that was
it was a good trip. It was a good event.
That was good. Yeah, I can't wait to do it again next year.
And we'll do it again next year.
We'll do it again next year. If it's a little earlier in the year, then I might not be caught up in so much bad weather.
If it's we've been down there in November and had crazy snow. We were down there one time for the expo. We made it all the way down there perfectly fine, and we got like 9 inches of snow. It just snowed the whole day we were there. By the time we went to leave, there was 9 inches of snow. My friend Andy, not Andy from Ohio, my other friend Andy, actually got his truck stuck trying to get out of the parking lot because they couldn't plow anything because it was full of cars, and there was just snow everywhere. Like it was insane, and it was November, so hopefully
maybe.
Still maybe. Michigan.
Maybe. I don't care. I would do it all over again, even with the same circumstances and the same weather thing.
Yep.
It was that much fun, and you guys were that much of a pleasure to hang out with. That it was a super good time. I know. So then, I got back like mid-December. It was like December 9th. So it felt a little odd that it was like already the end of the year all of a sudden. And I didn't get a Christmas tree this year. Instead, I was the Christmas tree. Oh my gosh, if you guys saw the episodes of Dantix, I had that idea. I was sitting like in the parking lot or something, and I messaged the group chat. It was you and Steve, Loki the Siberian, and I was like, what if I'm the tree? And I Googled a picture of like a guy in a tree costume, right? And then you guys were like, yeah. So I went over to Walmart and I looked around and I bought a bunch of stuff, and then I dressed up I lights in my hair and everything. You guys can see those videos on RFS's YouTube, RFS Dan YouTube. And that was so much fun. So this year there was no pine needles in the car. There was no dead tree. You know what made me want to do it is I looked at some of the trees this year and they were sad trees. I don't know if they're pandemic trees or what.
Yeah.
But like they were already like rotten looking, and it was already. And I just came from beautiful Michigan where all the trees are full and like the leaves are full and stuff like that. They don't have the trees don't have leaves, I know, but like the pine needle leaves were full.
Needles.
Yeah, and these ones were like the light green, like they were tired. So I'm like, forget it, I'm gonna be the tree. So I loved it. I was the tree this year for Christmas. Other than that, I don't really have any Christmas updates. We went to Crystal's mom's house and we had chili and opened presents, and it was a lot of fun and uneventful. Of like I don't really have good stories to come out of Christmas. Do you have any Christmas stories, or was it just a regular Christmas for you?
All our Christmas stuff went up in the vlog.
Yeah, right. So you guys can check that out. And then New Year's Eve
we pretty much just had we pretty much just had normal Christmas. Like it was just normal. We did Christmas Eve at my parents' house. We did Christmas here. I already forgot what I cooked. I made ham.
You made a ham.
And I'd never done that before. So that was interesting.
Good.
Yeah, we ate ham for like 5 days in a row because it made so much. But that was great. I didn't have to think about what to make for 5 days in a row.
For someone that hates cooking, your stuff really comes out good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And then 2 days after Christmas was my birthday.
That's
and,
right. Yes.
We really didn't do much. Like normally I'm like, oh, I want crab legs for my birthday and all these things. This year I was just like, I don't really want that. I just want simple.
No, the end of the year ended up really chill, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And then finally,
yeah, it definitely was.
I had my last live stream of the year, which is New Year's Eve. And this year I did it differently because we saw it at Novi and we talked about it before. All the fan base and everything, all the subscriber base is East Coast, like all of them.
Right.
All of them. When we did it last year, we just did straight till midnight West Coast time, and just the drop, and when you look at the analytics, the drop of everybody's like, I can't stay up till 3 a.m. So we celebrated it at East Coast time, which was good because you could see in the little analytics that everybody was there for all the 3 hours after midnight, and then they all went to bed on the East Coast, and we still stayed up for the West Coast people. But that was my favorite thing to do, was to celebrate it at East Coast time, and we'll do it again next year just like that because it makes more sense. I've learned that everybody that the hardcore people, the people that come and watch, they're all East Coast time.
Yeah.
Yep, and New Year's
I'm East Coast.
You're East Coast. Yep, everybody's East Coast. And New Year's went off without a stream, which brings us to today. Happy 2022, which is odd to say. Oh my gosh. Yes, we're old. Remember the 90s when it was 1999? It was like, we'll live forever. Now it's 2022.
It is. It sure is.
And now you guys are all caught up. So next time when we podcast, we can go on from here.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all the things.
Those are
all the things we had to say.
Those are all the things, and you can see them all in videos on Snow Dog's vlogs or RFS Dan if you guys want to see pictures to put with our voices here.
Moving video. It's this new thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it was a good time. It was a good time. Do you have anything else before we wrap this up?
Coloring books are still available, and calendars are still available till like the end of the month, I think.
Yeah, so we'll put links in the video description and in the audio description. So check the description. If you're listening to the audio version, just hit that little drop down button and you'll see the description for it. Obviously, YouTube will be in the links below. But the coloring books are amazing. We're actually gonna have coloring book night very soon.
I saw that.
Yes,
I think it was the 19th.
Is it the 19th? I'll be able to look at it right now.
I think so.
We're going to have coloring book night where you guys will be able to color your Snow Dogs coloring book here. The 19th, you're right. The 19th, we will have coloring book night over at youtube.com/RFSDan, where we're going to color pages out of it. I would like to see you guys post the pages too, so we can display what you guys did. The coloring book is awesome. That was a good call.
I was really excited about it. I'm already talking with her about doing like a version 2 for next year.
Oh, absolutely.
Like launching another version, with different pictures and stuff. I think that would be really fun.
They're cheap as heck. They come Amazon Prime. It's like $10. That's like so inexpensive.
Yeah, they're $10.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're awesome. Jess has potographed ones, but I don't know a good way to be able to get those to anybody right now because I can't have you stuff in any more envelopes. You stuffed what 600 and 700 cards this year?
I've done 624, and I have about, when I'm done with this, I think I have like 58 more that have come in that I have to do. So
oh my gosh, we did 60. You want to trade? we did 60. Yeah, so I've overloaded on that. But if you want to get those, we'll have an Amazon link on there. It comes straight from Amazon. It's super quick. People will get those. People were getting them in just a few days.
I think I'll probably do, in the future, I'll probably do like a giveaway here or there with them just for fun, and then, whatever I have left, next time we go to an event, I'll probably take some to an event.
Convention exclusives will be probably good for those. They're potographed in there. So if you guys, next time you guys go to a live event, it's easier to take those with them. Because, man, we had 2 big, huge boxes that we brought. Right? So, yep. So, you guys
worked out good, though. It worked out good.
I haven't colored anything in years, so I'm curious to see if my staying in the line skills have gotten any better, which I don't know why they would. And there you go. Another episode of the CCMouse Podcast.
Color it any way you want.
In the can. Yes.
Yay! Right. Yay! We did a thing!
Yes.
Oh, wait, it's not the end yet.
It is not. That'll do it for this week's episode of the CCMouse Podcast. You can find us everywhere on your favorite music app and see the video version at youtube.com/CCMouse Podcast, and we'll see you next time. Same mouse time, same mouse podcast, which doesn't hold up anymore. But you rest assured there'll be more of us coming in 2022. Bye, everybody.
We don't know when we record. We don't know when we're recording. We don't know when we're uploading. We don't know what we're doing. It's just, it is what it is when it is.
I love it. All right, now you can do it.
We did a thing!
Yes. Bye, everybody.
The Kermit the Frog.
Yay! Yeah. Oh, my gosh. That's where you... Yes, whenever I use that Kermit the Frog emote and stuff like that, you're always like Muppet dancing. Is that where you learn to dance from? Some people learn it from Dirty Dancing. Yeah. And you learned it from the Muppets. Yeah.
It's Kermit the Frog.
You see? Tell me something about your friend Jess. Oh, she's got the most amazing Muppet wrists. That's what they call his Muppet wrists.
It's that, or it's from the Team America World Police.
Oh,
you remember where they tell him where he's like, give us a sign, and he's in the back of the car? Not even kidding. I know the podcast is supposed to be over, but we went down to Cedar Point one time, and we drove in one car, and my parents drove in another car. And yes, my parents have watched Team America World Police. And my dad was passing us to get around us because he was supposed to be leading. And anyway, somehow we got behind him. And as he goes past us, he looks over at me and he goes, like, this is the best.
That must have been the greatest day on set when the puppeteer marionette guy was like, all right. See you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of the CCMouse Podcast. Before we go, I'd like to thank the producers of our show, the people that make it happen, and that is our Patreon subscribers. You could be a Patreon member at CCMouse Podcast on Patreon. So I'd like to thank Melissa Fletcher, Pamela Matthews, Big Graham, Nicholas Tafuri, My Life So Far, Steve Weston, Loki the Siberian, go follow him on YouTube, and Traveling Sheep 42, because they always travel in packs. Thank you guys so much for producing this show, making it happen, helping us with server space, and all the good stuff that make the CCMouse Podcast what it is. Thank you so much.